So, I think the biggest thing for us is really, we're very fortunate to be at a brokerage that is extremely focused on not only a professional mindset, but a positive and a growth mindset. And I think that for me over the past 2 years has just made all the difference, right? The joy is in loving what you do every day.
Welcome to the Maryland Real Estate Influencers Podcast, where we explore the ins and outs of the local real estate market. Join us as we chat with industry experts, uncovering tips, trends, and strategies to help you navigate Maryland's real estate landscape. Get ready to elevate your real estate game. Let's dive in. Good afternoon, y'all, and thank you for joining another episode of Maryland Real Estate Influencers. I'm your host, Jennifer Healy, and today I have Jen Holden with us. Do you prefer Jen or Jennifer? Do you have a preference?
Jen is great.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. We got you, Jen. So first of all, thank you so very much for making yourself available and being so gracious as to come on and allow us to interview you. I'm so very grateful for that. Are there any questions? I'm sorry, before you begin, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you work for, and what got you into the business?
Yeah. So I have been in real estate I always state it from how old my son is because I got my license when he was 2. So I'm about to hit the lucky 13 years in real estate. I'm with Compass in their Annapolis office. I was very, very fortunate. My husband and I had a business renovating houses, probably like everyone else you've ever met, during the real estate bubble in the early 2000s. And right at the time that sort of wound itself down, we had our first baby, and I was very, very fortunate. I was able to stay home with my kids for over 5 years. And then when I was ready to go back to work, sort of my technical skills were a little rusty. I thought, do I want to go to grad school? I don't know. And then I thought, I think I'm either going to try being a real estate agent or doing family therapy. And what I didn't know at the time was they're basically the same thing.
Yes, they are.
But I've been very, very fortunate. I've had my family support over the past, decade and change, to embark on this career. And it's sort of all the things that you love put together, right? You get to help people, you get to be creative. You get to dig into numbers and risk analysis if that's sort of your thing. At the end of the day, you really get to feel like, you did something to help somebody's life go a little better. So I still get teased by my old friends that this was supposed to be a part-time gig. But I think, as we all know, no one gets into any aspect of this business. Even if you are part-time, you're still not part-time. So I've been very, very fortunate to have my friends and family support and hang in there.
That's wonderful. So do you just have the one son?
I have a son who's a sophomore in high school, and I have a daughter who's a freshman in college.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice. Yeah. I forgot about your daughter. I remember that. We were talking about that.
Yeah, you've been full of good advice. Yeah.
I remember how challenging those times are. Mine are on the other side of that now. And it was such a wonderful, frightening, exciting experience all wrapped into one. And I know what that's like when you're just planning all of those things and getting them there and making sure that they have everything they need. It definitely takes on a life of its own.
Funny, because I'm sure you and I both meet lots of people who come to us when they're at that stage of their life, right? Where their kids have moved out and they're moving on. And the lack of, and I apologize to everyone who I've been in that situation with, it because my empathy was just not there. And now when you meet people who've been through it, they don't say congratulations, which is what I normally say. They say, oh, are you okay?
It's very true.
So we learn a lot with every stage we go through, for sure.
And I think that's what's made me so much more hopefully thoughtful when I hear people that are
Yes.
going through that, and I send them like a little note or I send them a little text message because I know how challenging that is
Yes.
in the midst of your day. And sometimes it's a little overwhelming when you're thinking that you're out there all by yourself and you know you have your friends, but has anybody really been through this before? So I just had to reach out to you because I remember those days. I really
Yeah.
do. So are there, I have to ask the question then, because I'm always interested in this question. Are your children even remotely interested in real estate?
I highly doubt it.
My
Yeah,
either.
my daughter wants a career where she can travel a
Okay.
lot. And my son is very, very technically minded.
Oh,
Although I did teach him when he was about 7 years old to say it's the price. And so anytime I'm having discussions with sellers about, although in this market it's less frequent, but why are we taking a little bit of time to sell the property? He'll be in the background going, it's the price.
I
So
love
he's got some skills, but no, and you say yours are not either?
my kids. Actually, I would say if I had to guess, I would probably use the word dislike our industry because of how much I worked at night and on the weekends and then during the day. And
Yeah.
they were very, and I'm speaking for them, which is a big no-no when you have 20 something year olds, but I'm going to do it for this moment. They prefer the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4. They prefer the very structured world of work. Both of my kids, and my bonus kid. So
Yeah.
they're all very similar to that, which is just funny because I can't even comprehend a 9 to 5, but
No.
I love them for it, and they are all excelling in each of their industries, and I'm very proud of them. But it's so I have tried to pull them in little by little and help them out. And nah, I think it's the way I did it. I'm sure it's not the industry itself. It's simply the way I've dedicated my work life to it. But that's okay. That's okay. I really wanted to have you on here because you have had some very good success in the midst of this down economy that I understand. Maryland Realtors is saying that Maryland is down 22% year over year, is the new
Yeah.
figure that they came out with. And I wanted to ask, how have you and your team pivoted during this time when it's been a little bit more challenging?
So, I think the biggest thing for us is really, we're very fortunate to be at a brokerage that is extremely focused on not only a professional mindset, but a positive and a growth mindset. And I think that for me over the past 2 years has just made all the difference, right? The joy is in loving what you do every day, not the attachment to the result. And so if you really feel like you have an environment where you start your day with something positive, where you have a lot of chance to have a lot of interaction with people, whether they're in your market or not, that are full of collaboration and good ideas. I think you're able to really feel that pride in what you're doing and detach yourself a little bit. We've had up and down years like everybody else. Um, but I think being able to say, like someone said to me the other day, that's it. I am done with this market. I will see you in 2024. And I'm sure you've heard.
That's the whole reason for the podcast, quite honestly. I just felt the need to do something in the midst of hearing
Yeah.
people say that. And instead of doubling
Yeah.
down their efforts, they have given up. They've even gotten out of the business, and it hurts my heart
Yeah.
because I'm 25 years in. So I don't like to hear that. And
Yeah.
I thought, what could I do? And so I thought, let me get on here and
I love
interview
that.
the top 5% of realtors in the state of
Yeah.
Maryland, which the top 5% of realtors in the state of Maryland, it just breaks down to doing 8 to 12 transactions a year, puts you in the top 12, in the top 5%, which is phenomenal. And so I'm going after and speaking to all these people and sharing, like, what are you doing to be successful, and sharing that in hopes that it just spark something in somebody so that they don't get out of the business and they just think about doubling down or maybe joining a team if they don't have the systems in place, maybe joining a team that has systems in place. I just broke my heart to hear people getting out of the business. I just felt like I needed to do something.
Well, and yeah, I mean, even small things, right? Like, at our brokerage, they did a whole program called the Summer of Success, and they said exactly that. They said, listen, now is the time to go back, and if you don't have a system for this, you need to put it in place. If you have more downtime, you're not showing as many houses, you're not listing as many properties. Use this time when it's quiet because it won't always be quiet.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
So use this time to make sure that you are ready when it does get busy. And so just approaching it in that sense of like this, it's not going to be this way forever. I'm sure you felt the same way when we were working 23 hours a day, last year and the year before,
Mhm.
um, until everything came to a smashing halt. We knew it wouldn't be that way forever either. Right.
Absolutely.
And so it's never like that. It's just, are you working what did my old broker taught me? You work in your business and on your business. So are you doing both of those things? And some days you're going to be a little heavier in the business. Some days are going to be full of appointments, but some days you're working on the business.
Mhm.
And that's just as important to your long-term pipeline. So I think learning from others about that, the importance of that, forward-looking mindset,
Mhm.
has been so helpful to us.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. I just found
yeah.
something online. I'm a big into marketing. I always have been. And I just found something on the line that a gentleman, Jimmy Burgess, did a 90-day challenge with himself. And he shared his results. And he did an unsolicited CMA every day for 90 days. He ended up doing it 72 out of 90 days. It yielded him $11 million in listings.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to share this. So I've decided that, and to all of you listening or watching on here, that we're going to do this October 1st to October 30th. We're going to do an unsolicited CMA challenge. I'm
I
going to
love it.
post it online and I'm going to ask the realtors that are out there that whether, even if they're not struggling, it's 15 minutes a day. And I send a little video. This is how to do it. Get out that CMA today to
Yeah.
unsolicited. So it can't be somebody that's asking for it. It's just got to be something that you're reaching out to your past clients, somebody 2020 or older, your past clients, nobody.
Okay.
And all
Yep.
we're doing is reaching out to them, give them it says it's on Google Streets. So we're showing their home. We're showing the bright listing so we can tell them what's selling in their neighborhood and what has just
Yep.
sold and things like that. And then the breakdown of how much they would sell minus their current mortgage. And it's so powerful. I want to do that. And I want to challenge people like, we don't have enough listings. Let's do something to get more listings. Let's
Right.
do
Go
it.
generate. Yeah. Go generate the business. And I think that's it too. It's sort of even with our buyer clients, it's this philosophy of saying, okay, well, there's nothing on the market for me to show you. Uh, do we just sit and wait, or do we try to go out and figure
Right.
it out? We run postcard campaigns in neighborhoods that our clients like. We pull lists and call agents. We do all the things to try to, drive those people out. And a lot of times those cards will just generate a call that says, yeah, you need to call such and so. My agent's going to list it next week. That's fine with me. That's
Yeah.
all I want, is just to know what's happening and put the spark in somebody's mind. And, and maybe we try to push this up, but
Yeah.
um a
It's
lot of it.
thinking outside the box.
Well, and a lot of it too is educating, potential sellers, because they have, as I'm sure you hear every day, they have big fears about moving into a new mortgage. They have
Hmm.
big fears about being able to find a place, and being able to talk through how to solve those problems. And a good understanding of, okay, where's I would say the rate limiting step, but like, where's the bottleneck point, right? And how can we make you comfortable with the risks around there? There's just not a lot of it. There's a lot of, there's a million news articles that talk about where prices are going, and there's a million news articles that talk about 7% interest rates, but there's not really a lot of problem solving advice. Maybe you don't want to be, I look at myself 5 years in the future. Am I going to want to be in my big house? With nobody in it except my husband and me? Will I be able to mentally handle it? Right. There are days when I'm like, I gotta have a plan, because otherwise I'm just gonna sit here and cry. But
It's challenging,
how
that's
does
for
it,
sure.
how does it make sense for us financially to do that when we're, not that far from paying this house off, and then to think about taking something else on? That's a lifestyle choice.
Most
And there's a
definitely.
lot of ramifications to it. So really trying to come at it from a problem solving mindset. And so
Mhm.
I love your CMA day, because it really says to somebody, look, here's something you might not have thought of. And let's talk about what would stand in the way of you making that lifestyle move that you want. And
Mhm.
how can we help you get there? And maybe it's not this year, by the way. Maybe a lot of
Exactly.
your activity right now is pipeline filling for next year, and that's fine.
That's it. That's what I love, is the pipeline building. It's so important. And
Yeah,
I think so many people, they're looking at the short game and not the long game, and that it's all about the long game in our industry. That is so true. Oh my gosh.
that's
I,
really good advice. Yeah.
yeah, it is. Now, do you have a coach or a mentor that you work with?
So I, for several years, participated in Tom Ferry coaching,
Oh, okay.
and I'm a huge advocate for it. I really love it. However, I got to a point where once we moved to our new brokerage, there's so much going on here that
Mm,
I really felt that I was not doing a good job of digging into the Compass platform, and being, they call it the ecosystem within Tom Ferry, to be part of that ecosystem and to feel like I'm really doing my best to use and take advantage of all the tools at my brokerage. I just didn't feel I was doing either one justice. And so
mm.
I said, you know what, I'm going to take some time and I'm going to really go all in on using and taking advantage of. I mean, you could go to 3 trainings a day for free
Nice.
at Compass, and really taking advantage of it. But the other thing that has made a huge difference, and it was a wonderful idea on the part of Tom Ferry that probably I was not networked in enough to execute properly. But within Compass, there's a framework that resonates with me a little better, for internal referrals and
Oh,
agent to agent referrals. And I have done more referral business at this brokerage than I did at any other point in my career,
wow.
because they facilitate so many ways for you to meet agents in other markets and really get to know those people where you feel comfortable referring them. The same way that when we get to know our lender partners, we can say, you know what, Jennifer's an expert in this. This is what you have questions about. I think that's who you should call. Right. So if someone says, oh, I'm selling my house in DC to move to Annapolis, I can say, oh, well, where in DC are you? I have a great contact in Bethesda. I have a great contact in Arlington. I have a great contact in DuPont Circle. Right. But I need to know about you and what kind of agent is really going to resonate with you. And there's so many great tools within Compass to help you meet those people and really take advantage of those relationships, lean on them for advice, all those things. So I love the Tom Ferry system. I'm a huge advocate for coaching, absolutely 100%.
Mhm.
Um, and I will keep you posted on how I go with sort of shifting focus for a little bit. Not to say that I wouldn't go back to that or some other coaching program, but really trying to, I think what it has taught me is the importance of being networked in like that.
Well, most definitely. Wherever you are, whatever you're using. Sometimes I don't know that, in no disrespect to Brian Buffini or Tom Ferry,
Mhm.
but as long as there is a goal, right? And whatever your daily success plan looks like,
Yeah.
and whatever you're doing every day, and as long as you're doing it, whatever it is, which whose ever program, or if it's Compass's program, you're doing it to the highest level of, not, you do the best you can. It's not about doing the best you can. You're doing the best in getting it
Mhm.
done. I think again, it's a mindset difference. Instead of oh, I did the best I can today. No, I got out there and killed it today. That's what I did. So I think it's a mindset, but no matter who the coach is or what you're doing, as long as you're doing it to that certain level, I think that's really where it matters in our day. I wanted to ask you about the type of business that you do. So how much of your business is referral based as opposed to lead gen, as opposed to coming from repeat clients or coming from your sphere? Do you know those numbers and how they break down?
Say it's probably pretty evenly split. I'm just about getting to the point. So, when I first got in the business, they told us that people move every 5 to 7 years. And of course, we've seen that number stretch out right in accordance with my career. And so I'm like surfing this little wave. But we are getting to the point where, we're having our past clients be moving. And like you said, different things that you do to try to stay in touch with them, and guarantee that repeat business, or we're always very grateful for it. And for our referral business, we do really work on agent to agent referrals, but we do also rely on doing some lead generation. We do some online lead generation. We have a marketing person on our team who's very good with social media and social media advertising. And with having some newer agents on our team, we do find that that's a good way for them to, also kind of balance up their stuff, because referral business is amazing and it's what we're the most grateful for. But there's absolutely no way to plan for or structure that. So if you want to get off of this, you really have to add some other stuff in.
Yes.
So, we try to do some local advertising, targeted towards people that we think are likely to move for one reason or another. We do some online lead generation, but I think is always a balance. I kind of come from a place where I didn't grow up in Annapolis or Anne Arundel County. So, on the one hand, the way I used to look at it was, that means I don't have 3 generations of family and friends. I'm not living around the people I went to high school with. I'm really not even living around people I went to college with. So we sort of started fresh when we moved here. But I've really kind of come around to the way of thinking of this as, this is sort of an advantage, because number one, a lot of people don't want to hire their friends. It's very awkward. And they may have 10 friends and they don't know who to hire. Right. So we come in and present, not you should hire us because you know us or you golf with us, but because we have the best skills and we're going to get you the best results. So it really lets us come from a different place. But the other thing is, I have a lot, like you were talking about empathy. I'm working on some pieces of that, but I do have a lot of empathy for someone who's new. And we kind of understand, the importance of certain things we advise people on with their home to make sure it's going to be a good fit in that way and help make sure that they, work into that. So, it does help us be more empathetic with that. But at the same time, to me, I do think that you really have to have a balance. I love a person who can work on repeat and referral only. But we just feel that, to kind of keep everything rolling, we have to balance it out with the other pieces of the puzzle.
Absolutely. I think it's a great skill set, because I don't know that I don't believe it's the same skill set when you work with a referral. They're willing to wait for you to go away for the weekend and come back and have a
Right.
conversation.
They love you already. Yeah.
Yes, the lead's not waiting. It's a different skill set. And I think it's really important to, quite honestly, sharpen that skill set, because I think it's an important skill set to have. I think it's something good to kind of, for new agents to learn how to do, because that is a skill set that is definitely learned. It is definitely something that has to be kind of honed in on. I think it's really important to be able to do both. And over my career, I've seen that there's agents that just don't put enough stock into how to lead Gen 1 and then how to convert those leads. I used to do a system where I would bring in all these leads and hand them out to agents, and they didn't know how to convert because it wasn't a referral, it was a lead, and it's a different mindset. And so that was a big aha for me is, ooh, you can't just give that out. You have to then train, and you got to teach, and you got to teach follow up. It was quite eye opening for me, and I appreciate that you're coming from the stance of understanding that and teaching your agents, especially the newer ones, those skills. I think it's very important.
Well, and you know what's really funny is, and I'm the first person to raise my hand and say, I should have been a millennial because I don't like to talk on the phone and I don't like to interrupt people by calling them on the phone unless I've sent them a message first. But honestly, it is not a rocket science business. It is answer the phone, answer questions, get back to people as fast as humanly possible.
Yes.
Don't leave them. I had someone call me or email me the other night, and this story does not end well. But she said, "Hey, my daughter's coming to town next week. Here are the houses that she wants to look at. What other advice do you have?" And I wrote back a really thoughtful email. And then I called her in the morning and she said, "Oh, Jen," she said, "I'm so sorry. I had my gens confused and I meant to call this other agent named," which all of us born when I was born, we all know 57 gens, so fine,
Yes, it's
whatever.
very true.
But I was like, you know what? Whatever. But I still feel good about the fact that I got back to you right away. I called
Mhm.
you as soon as I don't call people after a certain time of night. I got back to you as soon as possible in the morning. And so now if you do run across me or you know someone who runs across me, at least we had, that good interaction. But the funnier part of the story was she said, yeah, we called her. We left her a message. We didn't hear back. We emailed her. We didn't hear back. So I thought I would email her myself because she
Oh,
hadn't responded to the daughter twice. And I thought, well, you know what? That's repeat and referral clients, right? You just think, oh, she loves me. I can get back to her next week. And it's a mindset that we all fall into, and we
mm,
all get busy, and things happen to all of us, and we get sick, and all of the things. Um, and sometimes there are things where you're like, oh man, I totally, nobody gets them all. Nobody gets it all right all the time. But if you treat all of your clients the way that you would treat new clients, and really try to remember those things, because here's the other thing. Most people are not sitting there waiting for you to get back to them.
right?
When they're trying to solve a problem,
Yes,
they're going to keep calling until someone answers the phone, or
exactly.
keep emailing until someone writes back or whatever. So it can be someone who really got a glowing reference for you. But
Hmm.
if they can't get if they don't
Yeah.
know you yet,
Oh, yeah.
it is an absolute, and I absolutely agree with, the, the the idea of setting some very serious boundaries for
Oh,
yourself. Like you were talking about, we can't be, working 23 hours a day and not burn out. You have to have boundaries and about what you will and won't do.
mhm.
But we do also have to really realize that every opportunity to work is something to be grateful for. So
I'll share one thing with you. I called an agent, and his weekend and his voicemail says, if you call me on Saturday, I'll return your call after sunset. And I
yeah.
thought, oh, I love this. I love having that boundary. You're just being honest. You're probably either having appointments during the day or you're with your family. And once the sun sets, I don't mind giving you a call back once I have my day. And I'm like, wow, what a wonderful idea. I just really enjoyed listening to that. And I just thought, oh, I think I might do that myself. Because, sometimes you're out on the boat or you're doing your thing, and you don't have access to the phone and to internet, but letting people know when to expect your call. I do enjoy that.
I think that's super, super healthy, right? And there's going to be people who will say, good for you.
Hmm.
And there's going to be people who will say, that's not for me.
Hmm.
I'm going to figure something else out. And that's okay, because guess what? Those aren't your people,
Exactly.
right? You can't
Very true.
charm everyone, and not everybody's going to be your people. And maybe they are your people, but just not at that moment, right? And that's
Absolutely.
fine. There's, we have a friend in our office who says, however many millions of houses are going to sell this year. And like you were saying, I want to do this many. Other than that, you know
That's
what?
right.
I'm happy for you.
It works.
And it lets you be supportive of your friends and colleagues and happy for them as well. So it's
Absolutely.
like you were saying, it's what's going to let you have the longevity in your business
Most
and be
definitely.
happy to be there when you're there.
Hmm.
And be dialed in when you are there. So I
Very
think that's
important.
good advice. I like that.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that Saturday boundary.
Oh, yeah. Feel free to steal that. I'll let him know. I told him before how much I loved it, and I would share it on the show.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, what trends are you seeing in the industry right now as you go about your day?
Like what?
So I kind of leave that up to you. If you're talking about buyers, if you're talking about sellers, are
Mm.
you talking about the state of the
Mhm.
industry? Are you talking about referrals and what you're seeing? So I try to leave it open ended for a reason because I don't want to sway your opinion as to what you feel the most important trend that you're seeing pretty consistently at this time.
I'll say a couple things that I am seeing. I think I am one thing that's very interesting that I'm starting to see because a couple of like you were talking about pipeline, right? A couple of pipeline sellers have said to me, um, I'm worried that the market's going to turn and I'm going to feel like I lost my opportunity to sell in a really hot environment.
Hmm.
And I can say to them, you can talk to you blue in the face and you can say, here's this chart and that chart and this expert that I follow and that person. I think you're fine. I think you can work on your timetable and you don't have to worry about that. But I think sellers are starting to get that sense.
Hmm.
Um, and I would say at the same time, and it could just be my specific batch of buyer clients, but I think, and I don't know, you're probably seeing this 10 times more than I am, the change in the monthly payment scenario for the we're in a county where we'd all like to work in the luxury space, but the truth is, we're in a county where our average sale price is in the 400s.
Hmm.
So, that's your bread and butter is people who are focused on the monthly payment, not the purchase price. And so that change in monthly payment has really, I think, begun to affect the psyche of buyers in terms of, what we've been telling them is the house that's on the market 2 weeks is your friend.
Yes.
You might not have to pay 10% over asking for it. I actually have attended home inspections
Hmm.
recently.
Oh,
I've actually had people not have to waive the appraisal recently.
wow.
So I think it's, and that's because you get a little closer to what you and I would consider, right, the before times, when you aren't fighting off 37 people and 8 cash offers,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
to go for that. So, and believe me, there's still that slice of the market. But I think in general, I am seeing a little more, uh, caution on the part of buyers. What I wish I saw more on the part of buyers was a more frequent check-in with their lender, what I'm trying to encourage them all to do, because
Hmm.
there are people who've been looking for months upon months and have made offer after offer. And then I'll say, well, have you recently checked in with them? I had somebody the other day, they were about to make an offer. And I said, well, have you checked in on your cash to close number?
Oh my. Oh my. My heart's stopping. Oh my God. I talked to
It
all my
stopped it
proofs
stopped
and
my
listings.
heart. And it's so easy for us as the agent to say that's not my job, but the truth is it is. It's all of our job to work together as a team and to make sure that that stuff is going on. So I really wish that buyers would sort of feel a little more like, and you have to walk that balance of saying, I'm not pushing you towards this specific house. I'm really not. It goes when you are ready to go. But you need to act like you're going to find that house tomorrow
Yeah.
and you're going to need to write on it by 6 o'clock tomorrow night because if you haven't talked to your lender, you don't know that they're on vacation and who their, substitute person is. You haven't talked with them recently about what your payment looks like, what your cash to close looks like. You can't get yourself into, and I actually won't. I won't let them write unless they are fully aware of both of those numbers.
Oh, most definitely.
Because you don't, and I'm sure you've seen this too. I've seen a little bit more of houses popping back on the market because a buyer failed to perform.
Most definitely. We're seeing a lot of that.
Mhm.
Definitely. I know that I'm reaching out to my pre-approved and lookings every Thursday, every single Thursday. I try to provide them with a tip that I'm hearing that's going on in the market, whether it's from FHFA or if it's got from Case Schiller, if it's from Barry Habib, something factual that I can give them content and it's sourced properly and share that information with them just to have a touch point to see how the search is coming, if they need new letters on Thursday before the weekend comes, just little things like that to let them know that I'm still here and helping them. But that's a lot of phone calls on Thursday. And then when I touch the borrower and have that conversation, then I got to touch the agent and keep them up to date. It's a lot of work, but I think it's just the way to go, especially in this market. And quite honestly, even if it wasn't this market, this is just the way to go, just to, I don't know, be professional in our industry as the times are changing. I know that we're running out of time, and I just wanted to say thank you so very much for being on here with me today and taking your time. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and wants to know more about your team or more about Compass, how can they get a hold of you?
The best thing to do is just to go to, I would say either reach out to us through social media, which is at the Jen Holden group. Or you can go to our website, which is Move with JHG, like Jen Holden Group. And either way, there'll be a way to learn more about all our different team members, and reach out to us with any kind of questions. Still digging into all there is at Compass, but always happy to talk about it. And would love to catch up.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for tuning in today. Send this to 2 of your friends that would find this information valuable, and please leave us a review on whichever platform you're listening on. Until next time, have a great day. Thank you for joining the Maryland Real Estate Influencers podcast. We'd like to ask you 2 favors. Number 1, forward this podcast to 3 of your favorite realtor friends. They'll thank you for it, and I'll thank you for it too. Number 2, we'd love reviews. It helps get the word out.